Today revision of chapter 2, the sexual reproduction in flowering plants was done for class 12. I asked the student what is the reproductive part of a plant. So they answered flower is the reproductive organ of plants. When I asked what are the different parts of a flower, then they answered that the flower consists of 4 parts: calyx, corolla, androecium, which consists of anther and filament, and gynoecium, which consists of pistils, stigma, style, and ovary. Each pistil divided into 3 parts again. Then what are the events which take parts in the reproduction? So they could not answer. I told them there are 2 events which take part, into which the process of sexual reproduction can be divided, and these 2 parts are pre-fertilization and post-fertilization stages or events. In pre-fertilization events, the formation of gametes, that is male and female gametes, takes place. Now, first of all, and post-fertilization, what are the changes which take place in the flower? Now, pre-fertilization events, first of all, how male gametes or microspores or pollen grains are formed. So, first of all, where are they formed? Question arises. So, I told the students, in the anther, the pollen grains are formed. Anther has 2 lobes, and inside the 2 lobes, each lobe is divided into 2 compartments. So, 4 theca are there. Each compartment has 2 theca. So, there are 4 compartments, or these are called 4 compartments or theca of the anther. So, in these 4 compartments, there are microsporangia. Each anther has 4 microsporangia. Each microsporangia is surrounded by layers known as epidermis, outermost layer, endothecium, and middle lamella, and then immediately surrounding the microsporangia is the tapetum. These 3 layers are protective layer, whereas tapetum provides food to or nutrition to the developing gametes, male gametes or microspores or pollens. Now we after the maturation of pollen grains, the wall of the androecium, wall of the anther breaks to liberate the pollen grains. Now we can see how the pollen grains are produced. Inside each microsporangium, there is a tissue known as microspore. These are known as sporogenous tissue, which contains microspore mother cell. Each one is known as a microspore mother cell. Each microspore mother cell divides meiotically to give rise to spore tetrad, which separate to form 4 pollen grains. Each pollen grain is surrounded by 2 layers. Outer one is known as exine and inner one is known as entine, and inside there is a cytoplasm, and a nucleus is also there. This nucleus divides into 2 parts and gets surrounded by some cytoplasm. Upper part is bigger, known as vegetative cell, and the lower part formed, which floats in the vegetative cell, is the germinative cell. This generative cell, it is generative cell. This generative cell In some cases divides again to form two male gametes. So in this two celled stage, that is vegetative cells and generative cell stage, it is liberated in 60% of the angiosperms and falls on the stigma. And in remaining angiosperms, the three celled stage, that is one germinative cell which divides into two male gametes forming three celled stage, it falls on the stigma to cause pollination. What is pollination? Transference of pollen grains from the anther of a flower to the stigma of a flower is known as pollination.